to Raise to Obey, episode 8. All right.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, right.
Hi.
Hi.
So, yeah, really get right into it just because in our last podcast we are talking about also a little bit about inner child healing, and Yvonne found a post by, you go ahead and tell the girl about from your friend.
Okay.
She's a life coach.
Right. I have a friend. Her name is Denise.
Go check her out.
Her Insta is Reclaim with Denise, all together, all one word. She's from San Antonio, Texas. And,
Texas!
I know, San Antonio, right?
I love Riverwalk. I love the Riverwalk.
Exactly.
Okay, sorry.
So, and it was just fitting. She posted this today on Insta, and the first page is signs your inner child is still hurting. So I'm just going to go through them. And the first one is you overreact to small situations. You fear being left. You struggle to say no. You people please to feel safe. You feel not enough. You shut down when overwhelmed. These are wounds, not weaknesses, Denise writes. And found this really fitting because when I read these, I was like, okay, the first one. I overreact to small situations. I just told Jennifer, definitely. Change one thing in my schedule and I flipped the fuck out.
I used to be like that.
I have gotten better. Yeah. But I still internally,
and I wonder if that also has to do with
I freak out,
healing my inner child. I used to freak. I would be the same way. If you interrupted my my kids, and kids are kids,
yeah.
You have a schedule, tight, strict schedule or something. Right. I would be like, no, just like freak the fuck out.
Right.
And I know, I just I feel like that has gotten also a lot better from healing my inner child.
For me, it's gotten better as far as I don't freak out verbally, but I'm still freaking out internally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have gotten a lot better since being with my husband. I'll tell you a quick story. We we ride motorcycle. And we went on vacation for the first time with our motorcycles 2 years ago. And so our vacations normally go, I plan everything from start to finish. We're flying here, we're staying here, we're doing this, we're eating there, we fly back home, whatever. So everything's planned. So 2 years ago, he was like, okay, we're going to ride our motorcycles and we're going to go to Croatia. And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, where are we going to stay? And he was like, oh, we'll just get an apartment for the first few days, and then we'll ride our bikes and we'll find a place to stay where we stop. And I was like, what? we're not going to plan ahead? And he was like, no. He's like, there's rooms to rent everywhere. And I was like, what? No. What? And he's like, yeah, there's rooms to rent everywhere. And I was like, I swear to God, if we don't find a place to sleep, we're not, and at this point, we weren't like riding with tents or anything like that, right? I mean, it was just, we had to find a place. I was like, I swear to God, if we don't find a fucking place to sleep and it's dark outside, I'm going to tell you about this shit, till the sun fucking comes up and we can ride again. But I mean, and that's like normally how I am. So it was like one of the best vacations we've ever had. We had no problems finding a place to stay. And after that vacation, I was like, okay, it's possible to be spontaneous. That's because I was not spontaneous. And not like that. I mean, I can be spontaneous for some things, but not when we're talking about planning travel.
Yeah.
And so last year, we did the same thing, but we went to Norway. And I was like, where are we staying today? I don't know. All right, let's ride. Let's see how, And Norway, it's there's light out so long. You could ride until almost midnight and it's still light outside, right? So I was like, all right, cool. Let's ride until, we don't want to ride anymore. And then we'll see where we're going to stay. And that's what we did. And it was, again, one of the best vacations ever. And I realized that it was so less stressful.
Well, yeah, nice.
I was actually able to enjoy the vacation, I mean, and I was like, I'm like, why have I always been so fucking uptight, you know, about this? But of course, you know, it goes back to what we were talking about in the last episode about being obsessive compulsive, you know. So, so the second one, you fear being left. We talked about. We used to.
I used to.
I don't anymore.
No.
You struggle to say no. I used to.
I don't anymore. I used to have that problem so bad.
Yeah, I was, and it ties into the next one, which is you people please to feel safe. I used to be a big people pleaser, and I think actually up until about last year, I was still people pleasing, and then there was an incident at work that happened, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not worth it.
But you know? What incident was that?
Which one? There's been so many. I was just like, where it was just.
I don't know. Maybe I know the incident.
It was just a day where I finally realized it doesn't matter what you do. You really need to look at work like this is your job. You go to work, you do your job, you earn your paycheck, you go home. You know what I mean? It's all this bullshit about we're family and no we're not. You know,
a certain person at work,
right?
Teamwork.
You expect me to do my job. You expect me to make the sales, and as long as I'm making sales, everything's good. You know, and if not, then things are shitty. So, it was just one of those where I was like I'd had enough, and I was like, yeah, I just need. Or I think I had actually seen a meme on Insta or TikTok. I can't remember. And that's basically what it says. This is your job. This is not your family. Go to work, do your job, earn your paycheck, go home. You know? And I was like, dude, that's so true. You know? So, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. The next one is you feel not enough. Well, we both said sometimes.
Sometimes. Right? There'll be certain situations, especially at work. Well, my old job where you still work. And I think that comes sometimes from me being and comparing myself to other people.
Right.
And I always talked about this or what I do. You can't compare your journey, and it's like talking about people with like personal training and weight loss journey or whatever. Like you can't compare your week 5 to somebody's week 10.
Right.
They're farther along than you.
Of course.
So I can't compare myself in. Oh, this person is probably further on Instagram. This person has more clients. That's because they've been like in the business for 5 years and I've been in it for 2 years, you know?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah, I know that's, when you see a lot of the younger, women on social media, I have to often stop and remind myself, dude, they could be your kid.
Yeah.
You know, like they're fucking 30 years younger than you are. I can't be comparing like, let's be honest. I'm fucking 54. I don't look like 23 anymore. You know, I can use all the fucking creams and, you know, use all my fucking esthetician tricks that I know. I need fucking facelift surgery to look like them. And yeah, I ain't doing that, you know. But it's still, that kind of goes back also to, women being sexualized, you know, having to fit a certain picture, you know, like we should all look like this, or when you don't look like this anymore, well, men go through a midlife crisis. They swap you out for a new model. It's like a sports car.
But the thing is we when we age, we get older, and when we get older, we aging, whatever, we will start to look eventually like we are 60, we are 70, we are 80, because you get wrinkles, your hair might turn gray. Well, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind gray hair, but I don't have any. Anyway, I don't.
No, I'm not. Yeah, but I'm just saying it doesn't mean you have to. But you know, when you say like when you think about an older lady and she's a grandma and it's got just glasses and curls and gray and she's wearing those tight knit sweaters or whatever. You know what I mean?
Nah, like dude, I'm still gonna be in bicycle. I'm still gonna be in motorcycle leathers.
But that's like an image when somebody says grandma.
You're like, who's that rolling up on the motorcycle in leathers? Oh, that's just my grandma.
Well.
That's gonna be me.
Yeah. And I always think like I could eventually I could possibly in the next years, my daughter's 22 and you know she's gonna get married. She also wants to have kids, and I'm like, you know, in the next between 2 and 5 years I could be a grandma, and I'm like, fuck, like, and I, you know, I don't want nobody call me grandma. It just feels like for me it sounds like old.
What do
grandma.
you mean, Nana?
I don't know. My
Mimi?
my grandkid has to give me a nickname, but it can't be grandma. Can be
I can say
Meemaw,
Mimi. Yeah,
Meemaw,
Mimo.
like Meemaw. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god.
I was like, yeah, but then I'm like, but that's just for me also a stereotype because I'm a
Right.
grandma doesn't mean.
But I understand what you mean because I know my husband said the first time that he became a grandfather, um, he didn't want to be called Opa. You know, it's like don't call me Opa. You know, I mean they all call him that now, right? But which is grandfather in German. But he was like the very first time. I think he was like in his mid 30s or I mean, you know, early 40s because
Oh yeah, he had
he had
his
his
kids.
first
Yeah,
son young, and then his middle son had his first daughter young and like at the same age, right? So he was a grandfather very early, and he was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, I was ready to be called grandpa," you know. Yeah. So anyway, went off on a
Well,
tangent
see,
there.
so I think about I made my mom a grandma at she was 48, and that's what
Oh,
old I
okay.
am, and I made her a grandma the
Mhm.
first, and she was 48.
Okay.
So I'm like, what? My mom was like this old when I made her a grandma first
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that's got to be a
like,
little bit
yeah,
surreal,
like
right?
in your head, yeah,
Crazy. Yeah. So the next one on Denise's list is you shut down when overwhelmed.
yeah,
That's still totally me.
yeah.
Yeah. If I get overwhelmed, I just yeah. I get go into my. It's like my box is open again. No touchy.
Mm,
You know, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't talk to
overstimulated, yeah.
me. Yeah.
So
If I
like,
get overstimulated, that's also another thing. That's why I don't like being in big crowds. Like, which is crazy because I can go to a concert, you know, and that doesn't bother me. But to be in like a really crowded restaurant or like to be at a party at somebody's house where there's a lot of people, yeah,
you can be I can't do concert unless it's like a sitting.
well, it's like an open air concert. You know what I mean?
Still the
Well, but I buy seated
yeah.
tickets.
So
I
the
don't. I'm too old to fucking stand, man. I can't fucking stand that long at a concert anymore.
I said the last concert I went to where we stood, we had really cool like standing place where we were standing. It was Stehplatz. It's like German.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is years ago. No, how many years ago this was? It was Andreas Barani. I know that. I know this the last concert I went to where I stood up, and this motherfucker would walk right by me and walk
Okay.
by again, and everybody wanted to touch him, and I was like,
No.
whoever. I'm sorry, but like, so this motherfucker was so sweaty. I mean, you can think about like being on stage and all those lights, and you're
Right.
sweaty. He was sweaty and stinky, and he's walking by. Everybody wants to get a picture with him. They were touching him, and I was like, "Oh no, thank you." Like I was just like,
No, I'm good.
"I don't want to touch you, please." Like he was just like soaking wet
Right.
from his sweat.
Yeah. Of course.
Sorry, nasty. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I'm not. I know he can't do anything. He can't do anything about it. He's, but
Right.
like,
So the last concert we went to was Pink, and this was
oh,
it's gonna be 3 years ago now.
yeah,
It was open air, but we had seats because so when the tickets went on sale, I had to work, and my husband's in home office, so I was like, they're going on sale at 10. You better give me tickets. So he was like, I had the option to get standing tickets, but I got you seats because you said you wanted seats, and I was like, yeah, I can't do standing. And so where we were sitting, it was in Stuttgart in the arena, and you know, like the how it comes, like there's like a covering, so it's basically just like a hole in the dome,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
open, and so our seats were under the covering, and it rained fucking cats and dogs. There was a lightning storm. I even have a clip saved on Instagram where Pink goes, she was basically getting after the weather gods because she's like, I gotta get on the middle plane later, and then there was like this huge flash of lightning and thunder, and she was like, I'm scared, I feel like a puppy, I was like, oh, I was there, I'm gonna save this. So the people that were standing, they got fucking soaked. I mean, and you have to, how many hours do you have to stand before the main performer even comes on, right? So we like sat the whole time, and then of course once Pink came on, we were like all on our feet, right? But yeah, I was glad for two reasons because one, I could not have stood that long. Um, I would have been one of those people like sitting on the floor, and two because it rained so bad. I mean, those people were drenched. I mean, drenched. It
Mm.
was. Like they have like all the strobes and like the laser lights and stuff. And every time they would flash, you would just see the sheets of water coming down,
Oh.
man. And yeah, so but
That's
as
a
a
concert you probably won't forget then, huh?
no, definitely not. And we only went because I'd never been to a Pink concert, and I really liked Pink. And I had seen an interview she did on 60 Minutes where she mentioned she was considering taking up residence, and that means in Las Vegas because her husband's from Las Vegas. And I
Ah.
told Uwe, I was like, I want to go to one of her concerts before she actually does that, you know. So costs a shitload of money, but hey, I can say I saw her, and I've got some cool videos. So there's the last concert I went to. Like I said, it was open air, so it was okay for me, you
I
know.
saw Pink.
But
Uh,
I don't think I could do it like in a standing where you're like all
mm.
touching people and oh no, I couldn't do
But
that, man.
I saw Pink. She's one of like I swear one of the best entertainers of
She's
concert.
a freaking awesome performer,
Yeah.
man. I mean, their concerts are expensive, but it's definitely worth the show.
Well, when I saw her, she
Yeah.
wasn't. This was a long time ago.
Okay,
I was
she
still
wasn't doing her
I was still
acrobatics and
married,
stuff.
and it's been 10 years. Well, this year will be 11 years. So I want to say like 13, 14 years ago.
Okay, so she wasn't doing all the acrobatic stuff.
She did.
Oh,
But
okay.
the tickets were back then. They weren't.
Oh,
that
you
expensive.
meant the tickets weren't expensive. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
The tickets were. Oh, she did that acrobatic shit.
Okay.
So this was when she sang that song, "Dear Mr. President."
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of the big songs. And
Dude, now that you say that, I'm gonna go off on another tangent. But so when that song came out, it was like all over on the radio here, right? And so when that song came out, I had recorded it or I had it on a CD or something. I don't know. And anyway, so I went back stateside that summer, and nobody there had heard it. Nobody. I was like, they're not playing it on the radio? They're like, no. I'm like, how have you not guys not heard? So I was like playing this song for everybody, you know? It's like, how have you guys not heard? They were like,
Really?
no, nobody had heard it. Not in South Texas anyway, on the radio. It was crazy.
So they only
man.
played it like here,
I guess
or like
so.
not
Or
in
when
America.
she played it on her concerts, but apparently they weren't playing it on the radio. I thought that was crazy.
So you know that song from Jennifer Lopez, "I Ain't Your Mama."
Mm-hmm.
I asked my sister when I was back last year, and I was like, Jennifer Lopez or something like that. And I'm like, oh, you guys know that song? I ain't your laundry, or I'm gonna do your laundry. I ain't your mama. My brother and my sister looked at me like, what? And I'm like, you've never heard the song "I Ain't Your Mama" from Jennifer Lopez?
Mm-hmm.
No. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? What songs do they play here by her?
Right.
Because like I was thinking like that would be a song.
No, they don't. So they don't release everything here that they release stateside. And the way that I found that out is because my husband and I would often listen to a digital sender here or a digital channel. It's called 80s 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll play like songs from the 80s, and that's all they play. And they'll play songs sometimes. I'll be like, I never heard that song before. And my husband will say, I was a big hit here in Europe, and I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. So every time a song comes out that I've never heard before, I'm like, oh, that must be like another European hit or something, because, you know. That was like when I first came here and David Hasselhoff was so popular. I didn't even know he sang till I came to Germany. I was like, he sings?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, let me hear.
He's
and
a big
like,
hit here in Germany.
That ain't good, man. But whatever. Anyway, so yeah, sorry, we digressed there.
So
that's a big digression.
That's funny. Yeah. So yeah, just talking about like that post from your friend Denise. I'm gonna say Danielle. I feel like I've been able to do from from healing my inner child. I've been able to work on a lot of those, especially like people pleasing.
Yeah.
And always just not pretty much people pleasing to where I was miserable because I wasn't ever putting myself first.
Right.
Yeah. But there's also a good way to go about it and an egotistical way to go about it.
Here is where I have a big problem. I told you before we started recording earlier that I was having a discussion with my husband about me basically telling off a certain person. Um, and he couldn't understand why I had to be so loud and so emotional about it. And so I ended up telling him, you know, the reason that I can be so loud and emotional and say what I think is your fault. And he said, why my fault? And I was like, because you were the one that helped me come out of my shell again and be myself. Because when I was with my ex, he was very narcissistic and very controlling, and he basically broke my spirit, which is what I talked about in the last episode, where I wrote a note to my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, he really broke my spirit, and so when I met my husband now, I was very. Um, I mean, I still had me inside me. Does that make sense? You know,
Yeah.
like my fiery spirit, if you will, but it was very um what's the word I'm looking for in
Very
English?
deep.
No, my fire. I didn't have like this big huge flame. It was like almost gone. You
Is
know?
dimmed.
Yeah, it was dimmed. Like when the candle's about to blow out because there's like no wax anymore to keep the fire going.
There's
You
no
know?
wick.
Yeah. Well, there was still wick, but there was no wax
Wick.
anymore. You know, so it couldn't keep burning. And so that was at that point that my husband found me then, and just being with him and learning that I could be myself, and I didn't have to um, like walk on eggshells, which was really different for me. Um, I told the story, I think, on one of the earlier podcasts about me scratching his car and like walking down the road because I just knew if I, like turned around and came back, he's gonna beat shit out of me. And he was like, "Where are you going?" Like bye. Just because I was still in this frame of mind, being very scared of anything and everything, and him showing me through these kind of actions, going, "Okay, you scratched the car, it sucks, but what are you gonna do?" um, through little actions like this, showing me it was okay to be human, if you will. We make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. You cannot be perfect, which is what my ex husband expected, was perfection, right? Um, and yeah, like I said, like through these little actions, like, it wasn't every day, but like over the years. And now, like I said, we had this discussion yesterday, and he was like, "Why you gotta be so loud and emotional about it?" And I'm like,
Well, thanks.
that was your fault, man. That's on you, buddy,
Yeah.
I mean, he had to laugh about it, himself after when I said that. And he was like, "Yeah, okay, Um, but yeah, I mean, it's taken a while, and we've been together now 11 years. We've been married 10 this year, which is crazy. But anyway, yeah, so I think it's just, like a part, it's the healing process,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, um, and I will be the first to admit, like the first time I heard you talk about your inner child, I was like, yeah, I'll never get there. You know what I mean? I mean, that's really what I thought. I was like, I'll never, because I've made jokes all the time, and like people that are like really hurting inside, they often make jokes. That's why the best
Mm-hmm.
comedians are depressed, like Robin Williams was,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even have an inner child, right?
Yeah.
I'll never find my inner child, and yeah. So actually, through this talking that we have done on the podcast, I mean, not just the podcast, of course, but a lot of it's been on the podcast, has shown me that, um, and I feel like if I can start to heal this way and actually find my inner child, um, it's allergies. I'm not crying. Uh,
Okay.
that anybody can, and this is also, I think, our hope that we can reach people who have felt like they've had to stay silent, right? Because I know, like one of the things my husband said was like, what do we hope to accomplish? You know,
I got
and
asked that question too. Yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
I told my answer was what we hope to accomplish is to continue healing because it's easier. And I think I said this on one of the earlier podcasts. It's a lot easier to talk about these things with you because you know how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have to explain it to you. I don't have to try to find the words to explain to you like how I felt. You know what I mean? And then because we both basically went like down the same path, like with the drugs and stuff, I don't have to explain that to you either because people that didn't go that way or have never been on that path can't understand.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like someone who's never been depressed and they look at someone who's like seriously depressed, like they can't even go outside. They can't understand that, you know. I think that like how we were raised, and maybe that's also a generation thing. I was raised very much, and maybe this is why I did so well in the army. Suck it up,
Yeah.
you know.
What was that?
You need to get going,
You
you know.
stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about.
Exactly.
I'm like, what the fuck? I'm crying because of
I know,
you,
crying
right?
because
In
you
the first
fucking
place.
spanked me, you know. So how am I supposed to not cry anymore? Hello, make it make sense. Just make it make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So again, this is for me, this has been a very um good way to continue healing. Um, and it's also shown me that I can talk about it and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I get teary eyed sometimes, and sometimes I cry. Um, which that's also been part of the healing process is knowing that I can cry and it's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. It's just that I have this hurt and this trauma that's been buried deep inside me for 40 some years and I never really dealt with it, and it has to come out somehow, you know. And I have to say, after having been down the road of having panic attacks, I'd rather it come out this way than have the damn panic attacks again, you know. Like be on the motorcycle and have a panic attack, like that would not be good, right? So, yeah, I think that's also just been a big part of healing for me is knowing that when I am sad, I can. It's okay to cry, you know. I know my sister told me that I think it was her therapist that told her that it was okay to cry, and when she felt the need to cry, she should let it out. And every time she told me that, I thought, I can't do that, you know. I'm not that fucking weak because that's what I was always told.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was always brought in conjunction with crying was weakness.
Yeah.
You know, I know when my son was growing up, I know I let out a couple of times, and if he ever listens to this, I can only tell him, again that I'm sorry. Stop crying. What are you, a girl? And I should have never said that to him, But that's what I was told, and I was a girl, But yeah.
So I wanted to say something about where you say like anybody can heal, like the inner child. It's also anybody can do it, but you have to want to.
Yeah.
Because like before I started, I knew something was there, and I've been hearing inner child, and like I had that a session with my friends. We just she was like, "Come, let's do where that came out and where that started." It still took me. I think the battery's going low. What happened last time? Um,
Yeah, it could be for almost 30 minutes.
but even after that, it took me a couple of years to even want to do it because I knew when I did it, and I've said this before, it's gonna hurt.
Hard, yeah.
It's gonna hurt. It wasn't hard. It hurt. It just hurt.
Right.
Reliving that trauma,
Mm-hmm.
going back in your mind to that moment that happened, because that's what we did too.
Mm-hmm.
And feeling that feeling again of ickiness. I don't know. It's the only thing I can describe that moment when I was that age of the ickiness and the smell. I don't know if I ever told you this. He had a certain smell.
Mm-hmm. I think it was like his cologne or something,
No, I think it was a
right?
lotion. I
Oh,
really
the
don't
lotion.
know. I don't know what it was, but I think it was this lotion, body, or shower gel,
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
Um, that if I smell it on somebody, I'll just get a waft of it on
Mhm.
somebody walking by.
Mhm.
It makes me sick to my stomach. I'm
Okay.
really joking, dude. I'm like, I just go
Mhm.
back to that. I don't know what it is. It gets in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, and,
Right.
gosh, I haven't smelled this in a long time. Um, but it like one of the last times it was like, and I had to go. Like I always when I'm working, like when we were at work,
Mhm.
and I always sometimes would be afraid that if somebody came in and had that smell, that I wouldn't be able
Mhm.
to have my appointment with them, because I throw up on
Right. Yeah.
them. You know, they'd be
Right.
like, sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Can you
uh,
sign here, please? Now, quickly, I gotta go throw up.
yeah, just sign, and
Get
somebody
out.
is, yeah, this, like, yeah, but um so yeah, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's not an easy step. It's hard. It takes a
Mhm.
lot of energy out of you. That's why if you're gonna, you have to want to do it, and to know that if you do, like anybody out there listening to this, if anything traumatizing happening in your childhood, not just not, not just necessarily sexual abuse, but
Mhm.
um, what's the word I'm looking for? Violent.
Yeah. Any kind of, yeah.
Being
Any
being
kind of misuse.
misused, but being hit, being I don't know, the things that I see sometimes. I'm really, they get triggered, and I'm like, I can't, of how people treat kids. They're so innocent. Like, how, why, what? Like, just
Mhm.
smacking them around. They got locked in the basement. They weren't allowed to eat. Like, just things where
Mhm.
people just adopting kids and locking them in a room
Right.
just to get
So
money
they can
from the
get money.
state. Just things like that. I'm just like, wow. And it's not just about that. It's about anything traumatizing happening in your childhood,
Right.
to want to heal that and move
Mhm.
on.
Mhm.
It's hard.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
like I said, it was something that I knew I needed to do, and I had to come to a point to where I wanted to do it.
Right.
And like I said, that was in 21 or 22. I say
Mhm.
it hasn't been that long.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in
Right.
26. So um like, and just still, this is helping me too. But I
Yeah.
mean, I know I've already done some work on my inner child, but this is also helping me, being able to speak out, and not be scared that nobody's going to believe me,
Right.
because that's what happened to me,
Right.
but like,
Right.
nobody, nobody believed me when I said that happened. Like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
Mhm. Right.
That's it's like, what's good, like, we were gonna do this podcast. Yeah, let's do this podcast. I know it was my idea and everything, but when it came time to, like, we're gonna start doing it, I was like, oh shit, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Like it's
do I really want to do this? Nobody's gonna
Mhm.
believe me. And I was back in
Mhm.
that state of mind again,
Right.
being in my inner child.
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna believe me.
Mhm. Mhm.
What if my mom hears this? Oh my god,
Right.
I don't
Right.
know if she has, because she hasn't said anything till
Mhm.
now. My sister hasn't. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if she's heard this.
Mhm.
And like, what is she gonna think? And I'm like, fuck, who cares?
Yeah.
This is
Exactly.
my life. I'm not gonna live my life to please anybody. Like,
Mhm.
whoa, what will my mom think? What will my grandma think? I mean, my grandma's 90. I don't think she's gonna listen to this. Not that she can't listen to it, but I don't know how she's gonna
Right.
know about it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. No,
It's
I know
like,
what you mean. No, I know. I actually had that thought this morning for some reason, and I don't even know why. The thought occurred to me. I mean, I haven't named names of my family and who this particular person was. Um, oh, that's why I was thinking about it. So there are several. There are 10 children in my mom's family, right? And I have more than one uncle. So just to be clear, it was the youngest uncle because the other uncles they were all cool. Um, So I was thinking about that too. I was like, if somebody from my family hears this, I mean, they all still live stateside, and they don't all live so far away from each other. I mean, they still have like family get-togethers and whatnot, and he's always there. And my thought was, are they gonna like, say something to him, or is he gonna maybe react? And but you know what? I don't care. I hope somebody does say something to him because he never owned up to it. Um, my mom did mention that when she confronted him, he just threatened to kill her. So that's why she supposedly never said anything. Um, so I hope if anybody from my family or anybody that knows him sees him, that they do say, "Hey, I heard about you on the podcast," you know, because he doesn't have any power over me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That fear is totally gone. And it's basically at this point, um, to where how did people say so eloquently? I wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah, I love that saying.
You know? Oh,
Yeah,
I
that,
so
yeah.
wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah.
And that's another reason that I have not been home again. My husband was telling me that he wanted to go stateside this year. I have no desire because I'm pretty sure I probably won't be able to come back home. I mean, home being here because I'll be in a penitentiary somewhere. Because it's a small town and I'm probably going to see him, you know? Um, yeah, so why why bait the worm? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I just the United States is a huge country. Texas is really big. I don't necessarily need to go back to South Furious. There's nothing to do there anyways except go grocery shopping at HEB, buy some weed, and go eat at Whataburger.
You could
You
do
know?
that. Then you could go.
I think there's still a Sonic there too. They eat some foot long chili cheese dogs at Sonic, but yeah, I'd rather have a Whataburger.
So I had a Whataburger on my in the airport on my way back last year.
Nice.
Yeah. I wanted Chick-fil-A and it was a Sunday and I forgot.
Dude, they're
I
closed,
know.
man.
I walked him like Chick-fil-A and I'm like, fuck, it's Sunday. Fucking Chick-fil-A.
I know.
And then I was like walking back and I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to try Whataburger. So good thing because I've had Chick-fil-A before, so I've never had Whataburger. They got it.
Oh, okay, really?
Yeah, no.
Okay. When we land stateside, even my German husband says, "We're going to Whataburger before we go home, right?" Got him drained good.
Gosh, what are the things when we went back home? Like, the things when I went back home, what I tried, like Arby's.
Oh, I love Arby's. Oh my god.
Beef and cheddar.
Yeah.
With the curly fries and a Dr. Pepper.
You like Dr. Pepper?
Fuck, I love Dr.
Oh
Pepper.
my god, my husband hates it. He says it tastes like cough syrup.
A lot of people do.
Every time I find it here, I'm like, oh, there's the Dr. Pepper. And they have like Dr. Pepper Zero now, so it's even better. And they cost like almost €2 for a can. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna buy one.
I bought Dr. Pepper Zero because I thought it would taste good. And no.
Nah, the original is better.
Have you tried to have Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream?
No.
Dr. Pepper like cocos?
No.
Oh my gosh, it tastes so good.
Really?
So good. Dr. Pepper vanilla, Dr. Pepper cherry.
I've got Dr. Pepper vanilla and Dr. Pepper cherry.
I don't like both of those, but Dr. Pepper strawberries and
I
cream.
I still like the original Dr. Pepper.
The best of best. But Dr. Pepper and cocos.
Coconut. You like A&W root beer?
What?
A&W root beer?
Yeah.
Well, my husband doesn't like root beer either.
I'm not the biggest fan of root beer. Like, I'll do root beer float, but like, yeah.
I love root beer floats, dude.
Cream soda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You like Mountain Dew?
That's a northern thing, cream soda.
Mountain Dew?
Nah, not so much. Nah.
So we're just talking here about stuff.
It's like, every time I see Mountain Dew, I think of like nuclear reactor Phil from The Simpsons.
Mountain Dew was never my.
Yeah,
but what about like because they had Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb?
Yeah,
I didn't like
Mr. Pibb but like we had Mr. Pibb when I was like really young, and then we didn't have it anymore. Then we had Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper is something from Texas anyway,
yeah,
right?
it's made in Texas.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, so anywhere I went, I was the happiest. I was the happiest, like my little inner child, well, my teenager, I don't know, like I was so happy. Anywhere you went, they had Dr. Pepper
Mhm.
a fountain Dr. Pepper,
Right.
and I was like, this is heaven for me.
Right.
Cause like, and my sister's like, yeah, Dr. Pepper's made in Texas. I was like, Dr. Pepper, Texas and Dr. Pepper, yeah. Like I was like, this is heaven for me. I'm like, I'm always going back to
Dr.
Texas.
Pepper Whataburger. What
Yeah.
more do you need, man?
Yeah, exactly.
So when I go to Whataburger, I always get either Dr. Pepper or root beer. And my husband's like, you got Coke Zero. Like, whatever, dude.
You get that any day. You can't get Dr. Pepper.
Exactly.
But fountain Dr. Pepper. Like I can get a can.
I don't care. I just want Dr. Pepper, man.
The fountain Dr. Pepper.
Well, that's good to know because sometimes they have like Dr. Pepper like on a 6-pack on sale.
Yeah.
And so I'll buy a 6-pack now because I never bought a 6-pack because I'm the only one that drinks it.
Yeah.
So good to know. Alrighty.
So what do we want to get into for the next maybe like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
If we can get something like talked about in 20 minutes. Anything else like on this list that you have?
Let me see. What else do we have on the list? I gotta put on my reading glasses
because we have like book religion.
Here's one about so something to fill in the gaps. Thank you. Was asking questions and not getting answers as far as religion's concerned. So not only was I rebellious, I was curious. So I wanted to always know like why the rules were set the way they were in the religion.
Mm-hmm.
And the only answer that the pastor from my dad's church would give me was, you need to read the Bible. Anything I would ask him, like, why, blah, 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 or how come, blah, 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 and he'd be like, you need to pray and you need to read the Bible. Okay, so,
confess your sins.
You know, I will tell you, I have read the Bible from front to back 7 times. I never found any answers. I can't quote chapter and verse like my dad could, but I can tell you what's in there. Like I said, I never found any answers. And this is what led me, like I wrote down here, to studying other religions. You know, like we talked about in the other episode, you know, like we both went to the same kind of church that was, I don't even know what they call those kinds of churches. You know,
I can't remember. Like, it has a name.
There's a special name.
Yeah.
Right?
I can't remember it either.
But so this is what led me to like studying other religions. So I read the Torah, I read the Quran. I actually learned to read the Quran in Arabic, but they're all basically the same story. And praying has never answered any questions, hopes, wishes, wants, whatever you want to call it, for me. I've never found any answers there. That's another thing that led me down, or back to, actually, I guess I should say, to the spiritual path, because I don't ask anything of the universe that I know I can't do myself. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I don't know what's a good example. If I wanted a new job, I wouldn't be asking the universe, like, you know, hey, give me a new job. I know it's on me. I got to go out, start looking, you know, and do that. Or before I had surgery, you know, I wasn't like praying to any deity or, you know, I lit a candle, I burned some incense the night before.
Like, did
you know,
witchy shit?
Yeah, I did my witchy shit. You know, I had some crystals. I wore my bracelet that you gave me, you know, because I didn't want to be in the hospital without any crystals at all. And I told you the one nurse tried to touch it, and I was like, no, don't touch it.
Like, but you can't have that stuff on in surgery, right?
No, I had to take it off for surgery. But as soon as I came back, I put it on.
I was just wondering, like, if you can have like anything like that on
you. Can't have anything on you like that.
Like even like a crystal, like. Yeah. What if I ask them if they could put the crystal by my head or something?
I don't know.
Like I'm going off, but yeah.
Right. I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be
getting surgery next month on my bladder.
Right.
I'll go into that probably another later time. That's why I'm asking anyway about surgery. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, because I know when I went in before they took me into the operating area, they asked me if I had anything of value on me. And I was like, no. And he was like, okay. And then he wrote it down. So maybe they would let you keep a crystal. I don't know, because they switch you from bed to bed constantly. You know what I mean? Because they pushed me into my bed, and then they had me switch over to
The
the
other,
to like a prep bed, if you will, like what they when they put the IVs on me
yeah,
and gave me the anesthesia. And then I know when they did my surgery, they had to flip me over on my stomach, so I was on another bed. You know what I mean? I mean, so I don't know, maybe because you'd have to ask, because they're switching you around. You know, I mean, they might not move you around to so many beds, but you'd at least be moved to two beds. You know what I mean? So, because I have to put you on an operating table that's sterile. So, yeah, you'd be moved to three beds anyways. I don't know. You'd have to ask. But so, anyways, that's why I had that, and then yeah, and I put it on. I put it back on as soon as I got out of surgery, and because I didn't want to be, like I said, I didn't want to be in the hospital without any kind of crystals, you know. And I didn't want to take a lot of my crystals from my altar with me, just because,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, I don't want them to grow feet and walk away, which happens sometimes in hospitals, you know.
That's
and
true.
I would have been mad, and I would have been like, I hope they break,
Yeah.
you know. So,
But yeah, like I get what you mean. Like just about the what you said about the universe. Like you just you're gonna ask something of the universe that you can't do yourself.
right.
So
I mean, I will sometimes, like, I know before my husband had surgery last year, I did often light candles, and I wasn't so far into my spiritual practice as I am now. But I did light a candle and kind of just, you know, ask the universe to watch over him, you know. Um, yeah, because at that point I wasn't sure. Is there anything up there? Is there anybody up there? You know, I mean, you don't know, you know.
I said I saw something like it says if you're Christian, Catholic, whatever is God, or Muslim is Allah, Buddhism is and so forth and so on, and even being spiritual, that's like with the universe,
right?
But it all comes and boils down to one thing, that you believe that there's something greater out there,
right,
than us.
I think it's the energy that we all give off. You know, I know. My husband often says, um, for those that have faith, they don't need any proof, and for those that don't believe, there is no proof. You know, and that resonates with me a lot because um, I believe in the energy in our space, in our persons, in our earth, if you will, you know. Um, and yeah, that's a lot what I let guide me, and that's why why I tell you, if I meet somebody and I get like a bad vibe from them, I will most likely never ever be friends with them. There have been two people in my entire life that when I first met them, I was like, whoa, no. And then actually I got to know them and they were all right, you know, but it was just that first vibe that they gave off, and I was like, no. And most of the time, if we meet somebody and I'll tell my husband, I'll be like, yeah, no, that person, something's wrong. And later it'll come out like, you know, yeah, they were not like a straight arrow, you know what I mean? But not all the time, but I would say 99% of the time, you know.
99.9% of the time.
Exactly. It's like a pregnancy test, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's crazy. Yeah. I had there was a post. I think I sent it. If I sent it to you too, about like where it says about like being a witch or being witchy and practicing like witchcraft of things like that, like finding the feather, where it's like, oh, it was a raven feather,
right.
it's really pretty, and I was like, yep, I'm taking it. Like it was like I felt like you said when you were, was it like an umbrella or something, or that pine cone,
The pine cone, right?
And you're like, yep, this is coming with me. Like that's exactly what I felt like when I saw that feather. I picked it up and I was like, oh, I was like, yep, it's coming
It's
home
yours.
because I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it on my altar.
Right.
You know,
Right.
um, I always said, like, we have five senses, and I always have a sixth sense,
Yeah.
and I always like know it's my intuition. I trust it,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it.
Right.
Like I just things I don't. I couldn't name one right now. You know what I mean? With the
Mm-hmm.
top of your head, you're like, name
Right.
something, and you're like, you can't think of anything.
Right.
But if I ever do like have that, and I'll just write it down and say it in a different podcast or like a different episode. I mean, a different podcast.
Right.
um,
Maybe a different podcast.
yeah, talking about things like this. Yeah. And I'm like, Dad, I swear in my life I have a sixth sense
Mm-hmm.
of just knowing like that something like it's gonna happen.
Right.
Maybe like for instance,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, fuck you, sixth sense sometimes, like, because it just like, why do you have to be so accurate?
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
Yeah. Um, but just also for me, I mean, I've read the Bible too. I even have
Mm-hmm.
a Bible at home still because I don't know. I'm like, do I have?
I'll burn it for you if you want to get rid of it.
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't
scared.
know. I'm not like, oh no, no.
I'm
I
not
just,
scared.
really? I'm still kind of like, and maybe
Yeah.
that's just like still in me from like growing up in the Catholic.
Is it a real Bible or is it a Catholic Bible?
Dude, I don't know.
Because Catholic Bibles are not totally. I know not totally, but they are different than the New James version or the King James version.
I have a Bible, and a friend of mine from back home had given me. I think it's called Women of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if I still have that, and so when I moved, I had noticed I had like three Bibles.
Mm-hmm.
So I did end up throwing two away because I'm like, who needs that many Bibles? You know?
Put one in every room.
No.
You gotta put them under your altar.
I've read the Bible. Oh no, thank you. And I feel that every religion takes the Bible and turns it into what they want it to use it for their religion.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's you just stop and think. It's if the story is true, and this is in my mind a very big if, because the story is the same in every religion. But anyway, if the story is true, it was first written in Aramaic, supposedly, which was the language of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That language no longer exists.
Yeah.
And then it was translated, God knows how many times.
Oh, but it was in Hebrew.
Right?
Yeah.
And then every time you translate,
yeah,
something gets lost in the translation.
Lost in translation.
You know what I mean?
Isn't there a movie called that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So not only that, not only is, like I said, if the story is true, and this is in my mind a very big if, and this is my opinion, if the story is true, it was translated so many times, and then modern man takes it and interprets it, interprets it,
yeah.
I can't speak English anymore. Interprets it, whatever, chingo. You know what I mean?
Chingo.
And uses it to his or her, mostly his, will.
Yeah.
You know? That's why the churches are also fucking rich. I told you I was listening to a podcast about the church that I grew up in this morning, and they mentioned that when the original founder, who was the head of the church when I was going to church, when he died, his net worth was $53 million. So much for nonprofit organization.
Nice, yeah, yeah.
Right?
So yeah, that's something that I learned. I'm gonna be honest here, of trying to, figure out kind of what religion like, but I took um, I just kind of the way that it happened to why I got into the Jehovah's Witnesses. I didn't join the church. I didn't join the church. So a lady came and knocked on my door one day, and my youngest daughter, I don't know, she was 3 or 4 months old. I was so overwhelmed. My ex-husband was always working late, like because he just taken over a business, and I was so overwhelmed, and this lady came to the door, and I kid you not, girl. And this is back before I started being spiritual, and I was like, I prayed to God. I was like, I need help. I can't do this anymore. I'm fucking done. Like, I'm gonna freaking freak fuck out, you know. Like, and I swear on my fucking life, like the next day, and this lady knocked on my door, and she was from Jehovah's Witnesses. I'll never forget her. It's Claudia. I still know her. We still talk. She was like, she gave me those pamphlets, you know, they give you the pamphlets. And I did pretty much, would you say, like Bible study with her for 6 years.
Okay.
I learned a lot about Jehovah's Witness that I said on the end that it's just not for me.
Right.
Just for the fact of not being able to give blood. And the second fact, gay people are going to go to hell. Like,
right.
And I'm like, I don't believe in hell. Never have. Never will. I don't believe in hell. I think we are in hell right now. But that's just my belief, you know?
Right.
Everybody has a belief. We are living in hell right now. Because that's all I can say. Like, the fuck, this is hell. For things that fucking happen in this world, is for me, it's just not right. So we're living in hell.
Paradise are fleeting moments in our lives. You know what I mean? Or heaven, if you will, you know.
They interpret the Bible also. I want to say though that they do have a very good imagination or this image of when the world does end and the devil will die and he'll be put in a cage for 1,000 years, and in this 1,000 years we as humanity have to prove ourselves and blah blah blah. But when that happens, we're all like equal, and we get to talk to animals, and we get to pet cheetahs and lions. Like everything is one. Nature and humans like one. And I'm like, if that would happen, that would be so fucking awesome. Like, how awesome would that be to just be able to like pet a lion?
Right.
And everybody gets to like contribute to society, but do what they love to do. Like everybody does a handwork, you know.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. You may have noticed the last few minutes of this episode are missing video wise. You can hear them on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Hop on over there and fast forward so you can listen to the last few minutes of our conversation. We were messing around with a new camera, trying to use a different setup because I had to lay down, and obviously the battery pack for this camera was apparently not fully charged. So we were not able to upload the entire or record the entire episode. So this is going to happen on this episode and the next one, episode 8. But we have fixed that problem. So episode 9, it'll be the entire episode on video. Give us a like, follow us, Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube, and stay tuned every Sunday, 11 a.m. Central European Time. Thanks for listening. Bye.